Welcome back. Good morning, Austin. It is now Wednesday, November 29th. Our third guest of today, Katie Pyle, Senior Product Line Manager from Saucony. Katie, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, or afternoon maybe.
Good afternoon.
Yeah,
yes.
It is, right? I'm great. Thank you. How are you?
Doing great.
Good.
Great. Thanks. And we were just talking before we went live here about how your role is very much focused on trail running, which is our domain of expertise also, which is why you're the perfect guest to represent Saucony, the brand. I know you've been there for a long time, so maybe just tell the viewers how long you've been there, how your role's changed over the years.
Sure. So I've been with the brand for 10 years, which seems like a long time. I love the brand, passionate about the brand. I actually started my career on the retail merchandising side, and in run specialty first and foremost, and then moved up into Boston and worked for Saucony in that capacity. I had the opportunity to move on to product, which as any good buyer or merchandiser, I think you have to be obsessed with product. So it was like a natural fit. It was perfect. And then kind of worked my way through different things and ended up working on the trail line when we split into silos. So, which was awesome for me, big passion and was just a privilege. So
how long have you been working on trail specifically now?
Let's see, 6 years?
6 years.
Yeah, long time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And things have been moving a lot in 6 years. Before we get to that, though, it's interesting that you worked in run specialty too. And being at TRE, obviously, there's a lot of run specialty operators here. Are you flexing that muscle this week too?
Absolutely. So I was telling someone today, it was embarrassing almost. I've been coming to this for so many years in both different capacities. So that was kind of fun. And it's also such a small industry, like being able to see old friends and people you worked with over the years is also really cool. And for me personally, like seeing Switchback being added, I think that's huge. Like that's a really cool thing.
Explain what that is, because we only spent like maybe 45 minutes on the floor this morning, and it's our first time at TRE. Yeah. What is Switchback?
It's a more trail focused sort of area event part of TRE, which, TRE back in the day, there wasn't a whole lot of trail specific representations brands that really focus on outdoors and trail. So to me, that was like a huge thing. Like, hey, we have this opportunity, let's do it. And I think it's been, I'm going to misquote this, but either 2 or 3 years now that they've been doing it. So I think that's really cool.
Well, I'm going to have to swing by the Switchback section. Maybe we need a booth next year. Okay. So coming back to your work on the trail category within Saucony, it's been 6 years, you said. Mm-hmm. Tell us about, before we get to the product, just sort of like how the momentum in the trail category has grown in that 6 years. Yeah.
So I am very fortunate enough to work with a lot of really talented and really cool people that really care about it. And I think, there was a definite brand push a few years back to really focus on trail even more. And that's when we started adding athletes and, really focusing on, what we were going to do from a product perspective. How can we, move beyond the peregrine and add, more horses in the stable, if you will.
Yeah. And from a brand perspective, without revealing whatever you shouldn't, are you feeling like maybe, coming from above, there's more of a priority being focused on trail? Because, us obviously being within the space for a long time now, we certainly feel with brands like Saucony and Nike and Brooks and Adidas, all like sort of coming into the space at a similar time. Does it feel like the brand is taking it seriously too?
I definitely feel that way. And I feel like with the commitment that we have to our athletes, again, like working very closely with them and the commitment that we have to on our product and our product team and technology and really, putting a lot of thought and intention into the product. So yeah, I would definitely say, it's a good time.
Yeah. All right. So we'll talk about the product here in a second, but you mentioned the athletes a couple of times.
Yeah.
And we were just saying, in trail specifically, you've got Katie Asmuth, Adam Merry, Grayson Murphy, a multiple-time world champion, we should say, which is pretty amazing. And if you're going to choose 3 people, those are 3 amazing athletes. Maybe if you want to give a shout out to whoever's responsible for recruiting that stable, but also like what they've meant to the brand and how they help contribute to the product.
Yeah. I shout out Sharon Barbano is a name I think that hopefully a lot of people should know. And if you don't know it, you absolutely should. We also work very closely with Marcy Schwamm, who has a long history in trail and ultra. And, we really we're able to find them and work with them. And I feel privileged because we have a very close relationship with them. And, Katie has the energy of like, if you could bottle that up and sell it, like, I feel like I'd be a millionaire. So if you can figure that out, that'd be great.
She's good friends of ours. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I did know that too. And then, Adam's amazing, chillest human on earth, I think, pretty much. And then of course, Grayson, she's amazing too. So I feel very lucky.
As Grayson wins a world championship, which she did in June, she also got a bronze medal at the same world championship. She was previously a world champion. I think it was 2019 also. What kind of impact does that have internally at the brand?
I mean, it creates a ton of excitement. Oh. We all get super stoked. She was, she comes in the office. She was in the office, I'm going to misquote this probably, but maybe 6 months ago. And, she's flexible and willing to do that. In fact, right now she's in El Cruce down in Patagonia running our event down there. So I would say running, I don't want to speak for her, but she's having a fun time down there. I think it's 100K that she'll be doing over the course of a few days. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Coming to the product now, mention a few of the products that you have in line. I know like the Endorphin, is it the Peregrine also?
Peregrine, yep.
Yeah. So, and the Peregrine's been around in the market for a long time. Maybe talk about the product line as it exists now and how that's evolved in your tenure.
Sure. So, the Peregrine, as you said, really has been around, kind of our key franchise model on the trail side for a while. So we're lucky enough that that's a wonderful shoe for us to be able to build off of and really use that as the core anchor for the product line. As you mentioned, Endorphin, that allowed us, our roads side allowed us to kind of pursue that and look at a plated trail shoe with the Endorphin Edge. And then, of course, with the Endorphin Rift, a non-plated version of that. And then, of course, the Exodus Ultra was one of our key franchise models as well. That has also been around for a bit and had sort of some identity crisis over the years, but I think we've gotten to a really good spot with that shoe. And I will say too, I feel very lucky. It makes my job very easy that we have access to and use some of the best foams. We have a great lab and engineering team, so that not only makes it fun and fun to experiment with new product and how it can work for trail runners, but again, makes my job super easy.
So the Endorphin Edge is sort of like the trail super shoe in your guys' line. Yep. And that's the one that's hot pink in some colorways?
Hot pink, yeah. Yes.
That is a sweet looking shoe.
It is
I see people wearing it a lot too.
Yeah.
It seems like it's been successful in the market.
It has, yes.
Maybe coming back around to your personal responsibilities, being the senior product line manager, I'm sure there's some folks in the audience who would love to hear what that means practically, like how you interface with the design and development teams to, arrive at a finished product.
Yeah. I think that's funny that you mentioned that because I think a lot of people ask this, like, what does a product line manager do? And everyone's like, I don't know. So for me, it's we really manage the product's life cycle from conceptualization all the way to commercialization. And sort of, an easier way to put it is like a cog in a wheel. So we kind of make sure that everything stays on the rails, that we're working very closely with other departments outside of design and development, but with design and development specifically, we work with tight usually in small triad groups per project and really like have a very close synergistic relationship throughout the whole project.
I learned that term triad only a couple of months ago, and that's the product line manager, the designer, and the developer.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
There you go.
And so the developer then is in charge of taking the design to the manufacturer and trying to create it in real life.
Correct. Yeah. So really for the way that kind of would work would be the product manager would brief in whatever the project is, based on trends, consumer research, athlete feedback, whatever the case may be. Hand that off to then design, who designs the concept, kind of brings it to life, and then to development, who then sort of builds it, if you will. Somebody
needs to make a documentary about that whole process.
It would be fascinating, probably.
Ryan's behind the camera right now. He's ideating over there. Are you at liberty to tell us about anything else that's coming down the pipeline, specific to trail? Because obviously our audience is very trail oriented, and I think always interested to hear about new gear and new innovation. Yeah. Anything you want to tell us about?
I would say for autumn winter 24, since that's kind of what we're at the show for sure, we're going to have a new introduction to the Exodus Ultra 3. So pretty much new from top to bottom. So we're really excited about that shoe. And then we're introducing a sort of road to trail option, which we've had over the years in different aspects. But we think we really nailed this one. So we're using our Ride 17, which we've had the Ride in the line, obviously, for very many years. That's a key core model for us. And we're making a road to trail shoe out of that. So super runnable on roads. If your run leads you to, some light trail, it's perfectly capable there. So it's almost like an SUV of the trail.
Yeah. Adam was wearing a super light, like kind of all white shoe. Is that the one that you're referencing? Because he was wearing some Proto when we made a video about him.
No, that's not the one we were referencing. And it's funny that you say that because Grayson also races in it. Yeah. And every time, they're like, can we post this? And don't post. But then it never fails. Someone, they're racing in it. Someone sends
Proto's
pictures.
The gram
Proto's
account.
the gram, totally. And to reviewers and the DMs blow up. What is this? It's like, God, so we're still in the works on some pretty cool conceptual stuff. And again, shout out to our athletes because they are awesome with feedback and testing and willing to do that work for us. So it's great.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll hear more about that one in a future conversation.
Yes, absolutely.
Final question for you here, Katie. Talk about this show. I'm sure this is not your first time here. So talk about sort of what the brand priorities are and what your personal responsibilities are over the next couple of days.
So as a brand, really, this is a chance to show off, our autumn winter 24 line to retailers and, meet and be strategic with people. So that's really fun. Make connections. So many people from the industry come here, and
we're now LinkedIn buddies.
We are LinkedIn. That's huge, right? See, there you go, prime example. But yeah, so for me, really, it's supporting those sales meetings that they're having with key accounts and different retailers across the country and world, really, which is kind of cool. And doing things like this and product reviews and things like that. So it's a very busy time, but it's so much fun. And you get to see all the people you worked with over the years and just make new connections. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much for making the time to come in. We're going to swing by the booth later this afternoon. So hopefully we'll see you there.
I think beers are at 5. So if anyone.
We got to wait till 5.
I know, right? Maybe it's 4:30. I'm not sure, but yeah.
All right. Katie Pyle, Senior Product Line Manager of Trail at Saucony. Appreciate you for coming in.
Thank you very much.